Hello, everybody, and welcome to Newcastle Fans TV. And it finishes 1-1 at Stamford Bridge. Capped off an absolutely incredible season. Hopefully it'll get better next year in terms of getting the trophy over the line and stuff like that. But my God, it would definitely be I'd definitely be lying if I thought that at the beginning of the year I picked us to finish in a UEFA Champions League spot. Definitely did not see that coming. So make sure to hit the likes, guys. Smash the likes. I'm gonna drop the link in very soon. I just want to make sure that everything's moving fine on my end because this new streaming thing we're using is a bit iffy. But yeah, 22-23 season is a wrap in the English Premier League, ladies and gentlemen. It finished 1-1 with Chelsea. The game, honestly, I paid attention to it, but I wasn't I don't know, couldn't be arsed, but wasn't our best performance, obviously. But yeah, man, it was good. It was good. It was good to have, fans were making a hell of a lot of noise. That was the only thing I heard, if I'm honest. In terms of the Newcastle fans, Chelsea fans, they got nothing to cheer about, so I don't blame them for not really making any noise. But yeah, man, incredible season. Definitely a season to remember for sure. And we're in the Champions League, man. So always a positive. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about our season. I'm gonna read out some comments. Boring game, but I don't care. Yeah, I'll share the live in a few minutes. Newcastle champion. Well, Champions League, yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah, incredible season, top four. Look, I want to be competitive in the Champions League, though. I don't want to be going, finishing bottom of the Champions League group or anything. I want to fucking go and win it. Let's go and win it. Let's get in the final. You know what I'm saying? Let's let's make some noise, man. We also got Connor in the back. What's going on, man? A bit of an anticlimax to end the season, but I don't really care.
Well, we end the season with 2 draws in a row. It's probably the most Newcastle United way to end the season. Because we've had more draws than anybody else this season, which is the one thing, next season we can improve on.
Of course.
Try and get more points on the board, less draws, more wins, and be competing, not just to be back in the top 4 again, but to try and see if we can go a bit further than that. I thought, just a word on today's game, I actually thought we gave Chelsea far too much respect.
Yeah, they had a lot of the ball.
Chelsea are sitting bottom half of the table on the lowest points they've ever had. They have been shocking all season, and we've went there and we've allowed them to have the ball and play at us like we used to do, as if it's Chelsea, the challenges that we've had from them in the past. It's almost like we forgot there that we're actually the team.
They could have had a couple.
In the Champions League.
They could have had a couple, bro.
Mm-hmm.
They could, like that João Felix header at the end. I mean, I don't expect him to be scoring headers necessarily, but I mean, they could have had a few, man. They really could have. But yeah, you're right. You're 100% on the money, bro. I was surprised that we let them play. We let them have so much of the ball, and they did really nothing with it, to be honest. I mean, like I said, they had a few chances, but I didn't ever feel like we were gonna lose that game.
No, I didn't feel we were going to lose the game. I think obviously they had some chances; they could have scored more. To be fair, we had a couple of very good chances of our own.
Yeah.
I thought Miggy, he just leans back too much on it. He had to just be keeping that low and putting it into the corner, really, from that position. Didn't. Obviously, the goal they get, how unlucky can you be? I mean, that's kind of the type of goals that Chelsea score, because they can't score any other way this season, where it just kind of comes off Trippier and off his hand. So, but
Yeah.
as I say, it's a very Newcastle way for the season to end, but we can all
Yes.
look back on a monumental season, really.
Yeah.
Year one Champions League. I mean, the only way to go from here is well on an upward trajectory.
Aye, exactly. What's going on, 10, by the way, from the Philippines? What's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing good. I mean, there's nothing really much to say. The season was done, so
Yeah.
to be honest, I really didn't really watch our game because
Yeah.
it was a non-event in a way.
Yeah.
I was mostly watching the relegation battle, but
Yeah.
yeah, in terms of like just overall of the season, like this is probably our best season in a long time.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people said that Newcastle United will do a Leicester and bottle top four. A lot of people said that, and look, we at least got it over the line, so that we don't have that bottling, element,
Yeah.
because if we did bottle top four to Liverpool, who actually drew, I think they drew 4-4 with Southampton.
Yeah.
That would have been a bit embarrassing, I would say, or disappointing. But yeah, just overall of the season, they met and exceeded my expectation. I said, make it to Wembley, have a very good cup run, which we did, and
Great.
get into Europe, which is what I thought we would do. And I said, Conference League, why not? Champions League, I'm happy for it. Now it's all about what are we going to do in the summer to make sure that we remain in a position whereby we are competitive, and hopefully next season finally bring a trophy, because it's been 69, it'll be 69 years, I think. So at some point we need a trophy, just so that people our fan base, Newcastle haven't won a trophy,
Oh, bro, I just want to win a trophy just because. That's what the game's all about. Like, I don't really. These people saying all this stuff. I mean, we'll shut them up anyways with where we're going and winning trophies and shit. So, but yeah, you're right.
Well, the thing with trophies is that it's a stick that people have used to beat us with, even this season, despite how well we've done. We got to that League Cup final.
Yeah.
Well, the better team in that game, but 2 mistakes, and it cost us what would have been if we'd have won a cup as well as top four, that would have just been unbelievable. But, the fact is that people can beat us with that stick all they want. There's only a select amount of teams over the last 20, 30 years. There's really only maybe 7 or 8 teams that have actually won the trophies, really. So it's not as if we're being, we're sitting here and we're being overtaken and watching the likes of, Leeds United or, Bournemouth or something like that going and winning trophies and we can't. That's not what's happening.
And I mean, we're on the way to winning trophies. I think that's
We
safe
are.
to say. I mean, we would need to fail and fail and fail and fail. Like for me, like we'll eventually get one over the line. I think.
Well, I think the
It's
important
gonna be
thing to do is we
interesting
need
to
to
see
start
which one
taking
it is.
them. We need to start taking them as seriously as we did the League Cup this season. We took the League Cup really seriously, so much so to the point where we almost sacrificed our spot in the FA Cup in order to get through that quarter final that we were playing against Leicester on the Tuesday. That can't happen again. We need to have a situation next season where we don't even need to contemplate sacrificing anything for anything, because at the end of the day, it's 2 years in a row that we have went out of the FA Cup.
The third round.
In the third round.
League One team.
League One, exactly.
Yeah.
To League One teams. That's last season. I think we were all angrier about it purely because of the situation we were in at the time and the fact that it was Cambridge United at home.
At home. Yeah.
This season's slightly more forgivable. It just showed us that, the B team that we had that day clearly wasn't quite up to scratch.
Of course.
And it showed because when we made the changes and the likes of Bruno, Wilson, not Wilson, Wood and all the rest of it come on, all of a sudden we looked like we could go and win that game.
Yeah.
But as I say, next season I'm sure we can look forward to building that, and we've got the Champions League to look forward to. That's an extra carrot, and I suppose that's the thing. Would you rather win an FA Cup or a League Cup next season, or get a deep run far into the Champions League? I'm talking
win a FA Cup.
Semi-final.
I'll take winning a trophy over anything, man. Would I have rather had Manchester United's season or Arsenal's this season? It's no question I would have rather had Man United's. Arsenal didn't win anything with such a brilliant side.
Yes and no. I feel like Manchester United did not deserve to be finishing third above us this season.
Yeah.
They didn't. We were. If you look at the course of the season that both teams have had, in terms of the style of football, the way that they've played, we have clearly been the far more exciting team to watch this season. Manchester United have always had this. As soon as Casemiro's went out, one player goes out, all of a sudden they've went. Not only are they dropping points, but they've been losing games. Okay, we didn't win in the 5 that we missed Bruno, but we didn't lose that, which was important as well. I think realistically, it doesn't matter whether you finish third or fourth because it's still the Champions League. It doesn't make too much of a difference. You would have just liked to have that little carrot over them, considering they did beat us in the League Cup. But listen, they can still go and win a cup double, and that's a position we'd love to be in next year. That this wouldn't be our final game, but our final game would actually be that FA Cup final. I think we'd all love to see that.
Yeah, definitely. For me, that's exactly. And also, the fact that Arsenal were obviously so much better than Manchester United, but they didn't win nothing. That's gotta sting. That's gotta sting. Oh, that's why I'm also saying I'd rather have their season where they kind of scammed their way to a League Cup, and then maybe they could scam their way to an FA Cup, and they get UCL.
The thing is, sometimes in football, people always say in football you get what you deserve. When at the end of the day comes, that curtain comes down, where you are is where you deserve to be, and that's in the main, that's true. But there are occasions where you don't always get what you deserve. I mean, the relegation battle that Den was talking about there, Everton didn't deserve to stay up. I think that's a sad day for the Premier League that shite is going to have to be watched by Premier League fans again next season, because at least Leicester, as a team, apart from what they done to us on Monday, generally speaking, were at least decent.
An attack.
They were an attacking team, whereas
even Norwich, every time they come up, they try to play football.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas Everton just haven't done that. So I do feel for Leicester going down. I'm surprised when you think about it. That's already in the course of the last 2 years, the Premier League has shifted. That's 6 teams gone down and 6 gone up, because this season all of the teams who come up stayed up. And you've got 3 teams coming up. I think only Burnley have bounced back up as well. Yeah. Which is incredible. And of course, we have Kenilworth Road to look forward to next season, which I think what a story that is for Luton.
Man.
So there's definitely lots of excitement to come, and I'm telling you, when it comes to next season, I wouldn't rule out Everton being right back where they are.
No, they'll get relegated next year. They have to. They can't keep. They can't keep fucking playing like this.
You think there's a case that they've taken our place now at that end of the table?
Yeah, in a way.
Oh, yeah.
I think they remind me of what Aston Villa were in the mid-2010s.
Yeah.
Like, they just teetered around, but then they have that one season where Villa, when we went down, Villa also went down, but Villa that season were probably shouldn't even play a game, relegated with like 17 points or something. Like, I have a feeling there could be, in the next 2 or 3 seasons, Everton might be that sort of team if they don't invest smartly in their squad. But that's relegation battles, what they have to go through. We have to go through making sure that we do Barcelona on Tuesday or something.
It's crazy, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, guys. It's been a good season. What was everyone's favorite moment from the season? I'll start off with you, Connor. You also got Jay in Atlanta in the building. What's up, Jay?
Well, I mean, you could pick from a litany of moments. To me, it definitely has to be Newcastle United 5, Tottenham Hotspur 1 for me. To be 5-0
You mean
up.
6. You mean 6-1.
6, sorry, that's how good you are. To be 5-0 up inside, what was it, 21 minutes? Unbelievable. I couldn't. I mean, Jacob Murphy was playing in it, and he couldn't believe what was happening.
Yeah.
Nobody could believe it they were watching that day. The only disappointment of that day was that we stepped off in the second half and we didn't go and get more because it was there. You were talking double digits if we fancied it. But it has to be, because to me, I think that was the moment, more than all the other rubbish they had going on with Conte and stuff like that. That was the moment that we ended their season right there, because they've not even got into Europe now off the back of that moment. And it epitomised. I think what was great about it is that all those pundits who accused us of the dark arts, and somehow, I mean, these are people who don't watch Newcastle United every week because they seem to think we play boring football and never have the ball in the park. You know, it's still Steve Bruce era, but that's not true. That day shut them up, because that day showed that we were serious and we can play ball, and we will go and put teams to the sword, and that's put a fear in everybody who's going to come to St James's now. So for me, absolutely that whole result.
10, favorite moment of the season, favorite game. It could be a goal, it could be whatever. Go for it.
I mean, obviously the Spurs 6-1, best 21 minutes I've experienced. But I think in terms of maybe like another game, I don't know why. I know it's not going to be hugely celebrated, but this was the game that made me think we can get top 4. It was when we beat Nottingham Forest 2-1 at the City. That was the game that made me, okay, I think we can do it. Because I think at that time we had a poor run of form. Yeah, we beat Wolves, but can we follow it up? We did, scoring a late penalty from Isaac, and that was, it's not like the most exciting game, but I think it's probably the most important win this season for us to really gain some sort of momentum.
Right.
So probably Isaac's penalty against Forest is probably a, underrated highlight for me.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's a good one. What about you, Jay?
For me, the mortal enemy of our club is Manchester United.
Yeah.
I just hate them. They're a great club, and I hate them. And so that match, I just had to look up back in April against them when that was. But I remember just going there and not being afraid of them. Not looking for some kind of miracle result. Can we pinch one in, like how it's been for us for so long, right? Just going down there and handling that game. Sure, they came back. They had portions of that game where they were better than us. But just pulling that off for me was the one that just really, really made me say, yeah, this is. I mean, I already knew it was real, but I hate them. I hate them.
People say we are forcing rivalries. Well, I mean, ask Sunderland and Middlesbrough to finally come up, then we can actually have rivalries.
Bro, they're chanting about Alan Shearer weeks after we played them, so I don't know who the fuck is forcing the rivalry here.
There's no forced rivalry. See, what it is, it's not about. These are people who don't like the fact that we're coming back to that point where they actually consider us a rival again, because we've always been rivals. I mean, make no mistake, Manchester United, even when we were at our shittest, would hate to lose against us. Of course they would. So. And that goes back to the 90s. It goes back to Keegan and Ferguson and the mind games. But now we are a serious threat to teams like that. So they have to consider us as a rivalry. That's why they don't like it. But to me, I love it even more, because if they want to, be salty about it and
all in denial and shit.
Yeah, stamp their feet. That's fine. That's just more icing on top of the cake for me.
But it's on us to do well to reassert the rivalry, right?
Yeah.
To make it that way. So I understand, right? It's the same way with other clubs, like Newcastle and Middlesbrough used to be a famous, huge match every year.
Yeah.
Now it's not, because Middlesbrough can't make a rivalry out of it. Same with some.
Yeah.
And we're in that situation. It's an honest assessment to say that over the last 15, 20 years, but it's not going to be that way going forward. And slightly change the subject here a little bit. The Premier League of next year is going to be wild. It is going to be completely bonkers at the top of the table. Do not dismiss Brighton. Do not dismiss what Emery has done at Villa. Tottenham somehow got to get their crap together. There is no way that Chelsea,
They won't.
being as expensive as they are on the pitch with players, like it is going to be a logjam for Europe, just across everything.
Jay, they're gonna be mid-table next year, and that's
Maybe.
in a good. Look at their defense. It's the fifth worst in the Premier League, and
I'm just
Harry Kane has dragged them to a victory today, even though they won 4-1. He had 2 of their goals.
I'm just saying it's not going to be the standard top 4 plus 2. Now it's chaos up there, and there is a lot of money on the line. Like people's whole investment strategies for their clubs are being challenged by clubs like ours and other mid-table.
Aston Villa ones to watch.
Yeah, so
Even West Ham.
Tottenham didn't make it this year, right? They're right. And look, they're in 8th, right? So they're not going to Europe at all.
Right, yeah.
There's a chance for them to reload, but that's crazy. Like that, that's pretty crazy that Tottenham's not going to Europe, right? That's not. Nobody expects.
Hasn't happened in a while.
So it's gonna be.
Yeah,
We got a
you've
big
got to
summer
say with
ahead.
that one as well. Well done to Unai Emery and what he done at Villa, because they were 17th when he took over, and now they're in Europe. I mean, I don't like Villa, but you can't deny that. That's why he was our number 1 choice a year ago, because that's what he can do. Now, I'm disappointed we didn't get him. I'm glad we got Howe. Of course, I'm glad we got Howe. We can forget that now because he's put the doubters to bed. But just demonstrates how good a manager he is. But I agree with you. I think we are. Next season, legitimately, you could see 8 or 9 teams all vying for that top 4. I mean, if you take the fact, let's say Man City and Arsenal will probably get top 4 again if they keep going the way they've been going. If you take that out of the equation, anywhere between, the likes of us, Liverpool, who will be back, Chelsea, United, Brighton, Villa will be in there again, Spurs will be competing. And don't underestimate, by the way, the importance of what some of the teams who are going to be coming up can do, because Burnley, that's not the same Burnley.
Burnley could.
They're a team who they
I
could
think
be
they
a banana stand for any one of the teams there. They could have their say. I'm not saying they'll be in Europe or anything, but they could certainly have their say on the pitch.
Here's something I might put a bet on, or I'll have someone in the UK put a bet on, because you can do custom bets. Burnley to finish above Spurs.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You
That's
can't
great.
get out on that. But like Fulham, this is their promotion season this year, and they took points from people. Am I a bad person because I want Luton Town to do well when they get promoted, right? I mean, like that. I think that's the greatest story of the Premier League era, that they could get relegated right as they were going to the Premier League, fall down, out of the league, and then get promoted. And they've been doing well for 4 or 5 years, right? But that is insane. Like that is.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any story like that there that I know of, right?
It's taken them
30
10
years.
years to get from non-league to the Premier League. 5 years to go from League 2, because
Wow.
they were in League 2 in 2018. And as I watched that game yesterday, and I found it difficult to figure out who I wanted to win, because there was part of me that went, well, what a story it would be for Coventry, because again, a team with a rich lineage have been in the Premier League in the top flight. And
They were last in the Prem in
what they've went through and came up
Oh,
would have
one.
been incredible. But Luton is that's different levels. That's up there with Leicester City winning the Premier League for me. Luton pulling off what they've done.
Coincidentally,
I hope they
I
stay
mean,
up.
Leicester's the better one because they won something, but I see what you're saying.
I agree. No, I agree. You're right. But I think it's close to that kind of. And I think if Luton stay up, I think even more so, because that's going to be tough. They could easily do. Well, they can go one of two ways. They can do what like a Bournemouth and a Forest have done this season, and just get there, get enough to stay up, and then your second season's always, if you stay up the first one, second season's the build-up. Let's go and right, where can we finish now?
Establish yourselves.
Equally, you can go the way of a Norwich City or a West Brom or a Derby County and end up just falling away.
Or a Sunderland. Didn't they have a season where they got like 14 points?
No, somebody beat them for the new low, I think.
Yeah,
they did.
We'll
They
answer
did.
that, but they
No,
did
Derby County did, but I'm just saying Sunderland had like a 14. They finished
Yeah.
it one season with like 14, right? So yeah,
Yeah, they did. Because well,
and
Derby,
that's
I
actually
think
an achievement.
it was 11 points Derby got, so that would be. But I don't think that'll happen. As I say, these are teams. Don't underestimate the fact that they could be banana skins.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't want to be the team who's playing away at Luton on the opening day, for example.
Oh, no,
because
no, no.
they will
I
be.
bet they're putting Arsenal.
Yeah,
So
you
I'm
never
hoping that's
want
what they're
a
going with.
newly promoted team on the first day, right? You never.
I'd love it actually. I'd love that
But they're
because
just gonna-
everybody would be watching that.
So
I mean,
can
we
just
we
say
got
that-
a
Go ahead.
promoted team. We got a promoted team this year with.
Yeah, Forest.
We were at home though. We were at home. It's
Yeah.
not as bad if you're at home, but if you go away,
That's
the
tough.
atmosphere in that ground, that's already a 12th, 13th and 14th man, because they're loving the fact this is their first, especially like with Forest, that was their first Premier League game in what 15,
25
16 years or
years.
something like that.
Stupid.
And
Yeah.
they brought they I think through the January window brought them up to 26 players had played for them. I don't fully understand the contracts and the loans, but the amount of turnover they had, as in the number of players for their squad, what they spent on last summer and this, I don't know, don't have the data in front of me, but I suspect that is probably unprecedented to replace your entire squad effectively.
They needed to be fair though, because they were never the basically, well, now 2 seasons ago they got promoted and no one expected it, so they had like a mid-table championship team. So to be fair, they kind of had to replace a lot of them.
Yeah.
Can I just say that for Newcastle? So how do we get here? Well, we earned it. The money's part of it.
Yeah.
But mostly we spent that money really, really well and got the right players that will play for Eddie. In order for us to do well over the next 2 seasons, we're going to have to do that again. Most people seem to think we need 5 to 6 players. Great. Which 5 to 6? I don't know, but they better be the right players, right? And because the amount of money that we're going to have to spend, we're in okay shape from the stuff I read. There's a great FFP article on The Athletic. I recommend you go check it out. Go check it out on Reddit and look for Greg's order under NUFC, and you can read it. But in any case, that'll kind of show you how we're kind of in good shape, but we don't have a lot of runway because we don't have the brand revenue, right, from our, selling shirts all over the world, things like that yet, like the others do. So we're going to have to, we basically have to do the magic trick again. Like we're going, and to the same degree of success. That's what's required for us because we are a skeleton squad compared to what it takes to play on Thursdays. And
Definitely. You're 100% right. Yeah.
Just get 6 bodies and they're not the right ones. Well, I'm not saying it's going to blow us up, but that's not what we want. We have to go do it again.
It'll make it a lot harder.
It'll be a lot harder.
Yeah, facts, man.
Yeah.
Boys, I got to wrap. I got a Sunday to have here. Hell of a season. Thanks for letting me in.
Of course, Jay. Hey, I'll see you in Atlanta.
In Atlanta,
next
that's
time
right.
Newcastle play.
You guys are coming down my way. I'll make it right for you in Atlanta. It's going to be a great time, man.
Get in, man.
Cheers. Away the lads.
Away the lads. Take care, Jay.
Always,
Peace out, man. Peace out, bro.
And that is, as Jay was saying there, that's obviously the challenge. Now it's about this season, right? Let's be honest, the expectations levels this season weren't exceptionally high. They weren't.
That's a 7.
We were thinking 6th or 7th. We were thinking, we should be putting a challenge in to get into a European spot. And we did more than that, obviously, by getting the Champions League. The one thing you have now is by doing that and achieving so well, and we touched on it, we talked about trophies earlier, the expectation level has gone up. Now we're expecting next season we need to be competing for top 4 again. That's the expectation now. Not necessarily that we have to finish there because it's going to be tough, but we've got to be in the fight and we've got to be competing as best we can on all fronts. It's new territory, but I think it's one that we will rise to the challenge. Look, there'll be disappointments along the way, but I think we've dealt with those disappointments that we've had this season, whether it be going out to Sheffield Wednesday, losing the cup final to United, having a dip in form at the turn of the year after the World Cup, but bouncing back and getting back in the saddle and putting together a good run of wins. We've been able to do that throughout the season. The 3-0 to Villa, that could have derailed us at that time. It didn't. We bounced back, we got fourth. So we'll have to deal with that, but now we have a different expectation on our shoulders. So it's just whether the players can keep going and keep stepping up to that challenge, really. And Steve, you never told us what your moment of the season was.
You know what mine was, actually? Fulham at home, the 1-0 win, because that was one of the best 0-0 games I had ever seen in my life. I don't know if you guys remember it, but there were chances galore. Honestly, that game was unbelievable. There was the VAR. Remember, Mitrovic missed his penalty. There was saves. There was tackles. It was such a good game for a 0-0, and then we won it at the very end. I went ballistic in my room, man, when we scored. I went absolutely nuts. I probably go to the Fulham 1-0. I love that game. I loved that game. The Spurs 6-1 was also just mad.
Was that the one where Isak headed in from like a yard out when Wilson managed to get it?
Yeah.
For the assist? Yeah, that was a fantastic moment.
I
quite enjoyed that.
Oh my god! And the fact that like, oh man, we had so many chances to score, but they had a few too. And they had the penalty that Mitrovic missed, and because he double shanked it. Remember? He hit it with his...
Oh my god, I remember. Yeah, when he hit both his feet and one didn't count. Because I remember watching that, and at first I didn't realise what had happened when he had done it. So when everybody sort of stopped and the ref had kind of waved it off, and even the commentators, they had said, "Oh, it's going to be retaken." And I thought, why is it being retaken when he scored? Because even if Pope's come off the line, he scored. So why would you retake that? Yeah. But then when I saw it back and I saw he hit both his feet, I was like, oh, right, okay, that's what's happened. But then I was like, well, it's not going to be retaken then because he's made the foul. It was a bit of madness in that moment. But those are the moments, though, that those fine margins, something like that goes your way, they make seasons. They really do. Because you can't win every game 6-1. Sometimes you have to win ugly. You could argue that that's an area we could have done better this season, is win out ugly a little bit more. But no, that was quite I can see why that would be a moment, because that was
that was just that game overall. I was like, how the hell is this a 0-0? And then we got it at the way end. That was awesome. Some other ones, the 4-0 versus Villa, the 4-0 win versus Villa was fucking fantastic. That game, we absolutely diced them. We just ripped them to pieces. And at that point, we were on like an unbeaten run. At that point, the only team that had beat us was freaking Liverpool.
We had a 17-game Premier League unbeaten run this season.
Yeah.
17 games.
Which is a record.
A lot of clean sheets as well. I mean, where did we finish? Second best defense in the league?
I think second best, if I'm not mistaken.
Joint, because Man City lost.
Right, they did.
Yeah, they did. That's right.
Oh, shit.
So
we had as good a defense as Manchester City. That's madness. That's absolutely madness. And the fact that we've kept like 2 clean sheets in our past like 16 as well, and we still have the joint best defense. That says something, because we were just not giving away goals.
Well, you talk about City. I mean, that was one of the games of the season. The 3-0.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
You know, at the time you're a bit disappointed that we didn't see it out, but the quality they had, you know, that they're capable of scoring 2 goals in a heartbeat. They can do it, and Erling Haaland is in another.
Player of the season, deservedly.
Oh, nobody was going to beat him to that realistically.
And Harry Kane scored 30 goals, and that's how good. That's literally how good Haaland was this year.
Yeah, but I would say I do think, and it's something that I actually agree with Jamie Carragher on, which I don't agree with him on much. When he picked Eddie Howe as manager of the season. I think that is right. I know Pep Guardiola could win unbelievably could win a treble. He's 2 wins away from that, and that would be exceptional. But sometimes you have to look at other factors, and considering what Eddie Howe took over, less than 18 months ago, for him to have turned it round in that time with smart signings, not by just throwing money at the wall and seeing what sticks, and have a team in the top 4, and he'll be a Champions League manager next season. And that he deserves all credit for that, because again, it comes down to him. He went away and improved himself. He didn't just, sit on his backside, do the easy thing that managers do when they're unemployed. I'll just do a bit of punditry, earn some money here. He went away to Spain, sat under the learning tree of Diego Simeone, which is where he learnt some of the dark arts that we're very, very good at doing when we need to. And I just think absolutely brilliant for him to do that. I mean, Pep obviously will be manager of the season. I just think Eddie Howe certainly deserves it. At least a very, very close second should City win the treble, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I can't complain that Pep Guardiola's manager of the season. He deserves it. But honestly, Eddie Howe does deserve it if he gets it. But you know what? Ultimately, we're building something really, really special, man. We really are. Thought Jesus says Isak had the highlight of the season with that sick run assist against Everton. That was mind blowing. That Isak assist. Technically wasn't an assist, but my God.
I mean, how harsh that was that he didn't get credited officially for the assist.
I know, right?
Because he took the
right?
But everything he done, I mean, more than any other moments he's had this season, that was probably the main moment where you went, he has arrived on the scene here. He is Premier League quality player. But do you know what the great thing is now as well? Because of where we are as a club, it's not a kind of situation where you look back on when Demba Ba played brilliantly for us but left and went to Chelsea because obviously we just couldn't keep a hold of him when they came in and made those offers. Now, that ain't happening. These are players that are here to stay, to go and try and win things and compete in the Champions League for us next season. And he's somebody who, I mean, what a player. He really is unbelievable. If we can get a full season, injury-free next season out of him, I think he'll be challenging for that golden boot. I really do.
Unless Haaland gets like 40. That's the problem.
Yeah, listen, Haaland's obviously going to be the favourite for it because he'll just smash in goals for fun. But Isak's capable of doing that as well.
You gotta hang with Haaland. You gotta be something else. You gotta be better than Harry Kane too, apparently, to get this golden boot. I mean, fuck me.
Unless we buy him, Why not?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know what? I don't rule it out. I really don't. You never know. You never know with Newcastle, man. But Aaron Taylor, good comment here as well. What a season and very exciting summer ahead indeed, bro. Absolutely. The Isak goal versus Spurs just for Willock's pass. Assist of the season. That ball from Willock outside of the boot, baby.
Especially a former Arsenal player against Spurs.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. You're right. Holy shit. What a pass. First time. Just out of nowhere. That was sensational. It's either Isak or him for assist of the season.
Yeah, and the thing is, it depends on what you prefer, really, doesn't it? Because Isak, it's the run of the dreams are made of. I mean, that kind of close control footwork, dances around 3 or 4 Everton defenders like they're not there. Yeah. Does it in the tight ends of the pitch as well. It's not like he's got a lot of space to manoeuvre in. It's just
he was literally. It was like he was dancing on a tightrope.
Yeah. Equally though, Joe Willock, to see that pass is one thing. I could have seen that pass, but to actually make it is, is outrageous. But again, the fact you see with the run that Isaac made as well, the confidence that they have in each other. Like, he knew, I'm going to make this run because he will find me, and I'm just going to keep going. and so we've done that there. But well, you know he's going to love those games against Spurs. He wants to score against them more than anybody. And probably the same when we're playing Arsenal, he wants to play well because he wants to prove a point to them that maybe they shouldn't let him go. But again, it'll be interesting because I don't know where he'll fit in next season, Billick. Depends who we bring in, what his role becomes. Is he a squad rotation player? Which there's nothing wrong with that. You know, does he come off the subs bench? Probably. But we need that. We need a strong bench to turn to. At those times in games, so I'd be happy to see that. It wouldn't bother me at all. But it's exciting. It's exciting times in the summer. I honestly, I can't wait to see what happens in terms of the transfers, who we're going to bring in. That will determine the ambition, but also the pre-season that we're going to have is exciting. You know, in the States, you guys will obviously be there in person, get to see them, which will be great. I'll get my chance when they come up to Glasgow in July. So
are you going?
Yeah, I'll be going to the game. Yeah, one way or another.
Nice.
I'd asked Lee in the Discord chat about getting tickets for the Newcastle end, but that might be trickier. But that being said, if not, I'll just get a ticket for the Rangers end. It doesn't really bother me in the slightest. Either way, I'll be there at the game, and hopefully I'll get to, you know, maybe meet Lee and some of the guys who are up with him. So that would be nice. For that day.
Absolutely. When was the last time you saw Newcastle, or have you never seen them before?
The last time I saw Newcastle would have been, good question, 2011, 2012.
Wow.
Home
or away?
At home. Every time I've seen Newcastle, it's been at St James's Park. I've never actually seen them away. I went a few times with school. That's how I ended up becoming a fan. Loved it. You know, and even back in those days when it wasn't particularly great. I mean, I watched them in the Championship in the 2009-10 season when they had obviously went down the year before, and it was a home game against Swansea actually. And of all players, I think was it Ryan Taylor? I think it was, scored an absolute worldie of a free kick.
Was it Stephen Taylor?
Stephen Taylor, sorry, Stephen Taylor. Yeah. Absolutely worldie of a free kick that day. It shows how far we've come that we're talking about Stephen and Ryan Taylor. now here we are, all these years later. But yeah, brilliant.
Madness. Paul, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Really good. I haven't been on for ages. Work's been crazy, but
Yeah, I feel you. I asked the guys here, what's been their moment of the season or game or whatever? What's yours?
well, I wanted to first of all congratulate Everton on winning the Premier League.
You would have thought. You would have fucking thought because you guys again. They're so
What on earth was that?
Oh
Dear
my
me.
God. We didn't even do that for when we qualified for this mighty top 4 thing.
No, we didn't. No.
But so congratulations to Everton. Well done. And thank you to Leicester because you've taken 20 million off Maddison for us. So we appreciate that. Moment of the season, it's got to be because I was there as well. But that Tottenham game, going in nervous, thinking that obviously it was it we were 4th and they were 5th at the time. Is that right?
Yeah.
And we were obviously thinking Tottenham are one of those weird teams. Harry Kane always seems to score against us. Could this be one of those dodgy games where this is the game where we lose top 4? And obviously after 10 minutes, you're like, what was I worried about? It's Tottenham.
Yeah, we're what, 3-0 up in 9 minutes?
It was ridiculous.
Fucking hell. And you were there. There.
What an atmosphere, yeah. That and I mean, yeah, the Leicester game was obviously what it was, but that was a hell of an atmosphere as well. Managed to get up for that one. But War Flags, I mean, I wish there was an award for like best. Well, it'd only be us really, but yeah, best like flag display or whatever, we'd win that.
Oh my God, that was terrific, man. Any other? How many games did you make this season for Newcastle? How many games?
25 this season, so not too bad. I mean, it's hard.
Home and away, or just home?
Yeah, a bit of both. I mean, obviously it's difficult because I live in Banbury, so I have to drive up 4 hours to do the home games.
Oh,
But
wow.
I've had my season ticket for, as I said to you last time, I had my season ticket now for every 10 years. So
Nice.
I try and get up every weekend if I can. But as you know, working in the hospital is difficult.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and then I got to the last away game I did was Leeds. That was really good. Had to be a cheeky away fan because my friend got us the hospitality tickets.
Oh.
But obviously with Leeds, but yeah, their fans, I mean, quite rightly now, they were all like very nervous and very, yeah. They still hate us. They hate us. Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was sorry.
they- They're going down, man. They've been.
gone.
And you know what? Again, another one of those teams where it's like, bro, defensively, I think they had the worst record in the Premier League by a distance as well. They were terrible. Yeah, they conceded 78. 78 goals in 38 games.
And Leicester had like the worst amount of losses as well, I think.
22. No, Southampton had 25.
Or was it? Oh, okay.
Leicester had 22.
I mean, as much as we banter Everton, I mean, Leicester did deserve to go down on that.
They did. Yeah, you can't be losing 22 games, bro.
But they did. I think as well, weirdly, for Leicester, the gamble they took on Monday to play for the 0-0 draw, to sit back and just do nothing and for the last 5 minutes where they had one shot, which to be fair, they nearly scored, has backfired now on them, because if they had came into that game, went toe-to-toe and just went, we're going to go for the win, not saying they would have won, but if they had done that and managed to get 3 points, they'd have been safe, because winning today would have put them level with everything, but with a better goal difference, despite the level of completed. So, in that respect, I think Dean Smith's gamble didn't work. And I never like when teams, and we've done it when we were in those positions, and it's never a great position to be in when you know ideally you need 3 points, but your manager's set up in such a way that you're really just going to try and get 1 if you can.
It was a
you
weird
never really like it.
game.
It felt like Steve Bruce football.
Yeah.
I mean, Leicester, in a way, kind of did a Portsmouth when the FA Cup a year or two later go down.
The thing is, do you know why Leicester deserve to go down for 2 reasons? One is they kept Brendan Rodgers for too long. I know he won the FA Cup, and that kept him in a job longer than it probably should have done, because the wheels came off long before he left. He'd clearly lost the dressing room, but they kept going.
They persisted with him, even though it was only heading in one direction.
The second mistake they made was they didn't learn from the mistake that Norwich City made. They decided to bring in Dean Smith. Norwich City done the exact same thing last season and guess what? It was the exact same outcome. They also went down. Dean Smith is not the manager you bring in to save you, to bring you up. If anything, if Big Sam had went into Leicester instead of Dean Smith at that time, they probably would have stayed up, because him with a better squad and a bit more time than he had at Leeds might have done better. Certainly would have made more sense, because he's got more of that reputation. But he didn't do that. They went for a guy who has a reputation of getting relegated when brought in to save a team. He can get him promoted, so I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed with him and brought him back up. But he won't save you. He won't save a sinking ship. So I do think that was a huge error in judgment that they made. And they're going to need a rebuild. And when you think about it, 7 years on from winning the league, this is where they are. And it doesn't make sense, because I remember the season after they won the league. They were utterly ruthless with Claudio Ranieri. They got rid of him after 7 or 8 games because they hadn't won, and that was it. Yeah. Forget the fact he's just won your league title. He didn't have that credit in the bank room for some reason, but an FA Cup seemed to get more credit for Brendan Rodgers than a Premier League got, which seems bizarre.
Was that all after the? I can't remember the timings because I was not a Leicester fan. Was that all after the original owner obviously passed away? Did all the mad decisions come after that?
Yeah.
Because it seemed like he was obviously running the club a certain way, and then is it the son who's in charge now?
Yeah.
Yeah, his son.
He seems to be like doing. I don't think he's got the same, business sort of ideas that his dad had. Like you say, Brendan Rodgers should have gone months. I mean, those fans were, they were ready for him to go 2 months before he went, but they were foaming at the mouth.
Yeah, definitely. Mark Ryan brings up a comment here. Fabian Schär is not mentioned enough. He's my player of the season. People keep talking about Botman, who, don't get me wrong, is class, but Schär has been superb. What's everyone's thoughts on player of the season for them? I'll start with Connor.
Well, listen, firstly, the Fabian Schär point, I agree. I think he's been fantastic. I think what a turnaround for him, because let's be fair, and again, probably shows the ineptitude of Steve Bruce more than anything else. Steve Bruce was playing Isaac Hayden in front of Fabian Schär. He didn't fancy the guy. He was basically wanting him out the door, which speaks volumes to a lot of things, because Schär has, with all due respect to Isaac Hayden, and he was a decent servant for the club, Fabian Schär has never been a worse defender than Isaac Hayden. And this season he's stepped up. I think that partnership he's got with Botman and having Byrne and Trippier playing as the sort of the fullbacks, albeit this today was Matt Target, which is always a good. He's always a good option to have as well. I think it's helped his confidence, because I think he feels now he can play a bit more easy own game, knowing that if there's a mistake he makes, a loose pass or whatever, he'll try it back, but he's got the cover there, he's got the confidence, and his teammates around him. And I think he has been brilliant. Is he my player of the season? No, because for me, I think the player of the season, once again, as I think he was last season, has to be Kieran Trippier. For me, I think he has been unbelievable. Again, he's the composure he's had in situations in games, everything that you need from a captain. And I think with Lascelles probably going to go in the summer, he will be officially the club captain, because technically Lascelles is still captain but doesn't play, so Trippier gets the armband. But everything about him just oozes class. When he plays, he's not immune to mistakes, nobody is, because he's a human being, but I just think this season he's been a driving force again. I mean, look, obviously Wilson, Isaac, Miggy, that first 6 months, he'd have probably been getting it with the goals, but everything Trippier does, whether it's at the back, going forward, he's just an ever present for us, and I think he would be my player of the season.
Fair enough. 10, what do you think about that, man?
Yeah, I mean, almost, you can literally say any of our players have been player of the season. For me, I think it's the one that plays in the middle, Bruno Guimaraes. I mean, without him, we would not even be in Europe. Because
probably not.
Yeah, so I think, I it's kind of self-explanatory. I think Bruno Guimaraes is just a level above any of our midfielders and even a few of our best players this season. Goals to Fabian Schär. I just think Bruno Guimaraes is like, he's like, if I was 10 years younger, he feels like a Johan Cabaye type of player to me. And I love Johan Cabaye when he was with us, and Bruno Guimaraes is like that sort of player to me. And I think he's been probably one of the best out player of the season, in my opinion.
Cabaye without ego.
Yeah.
Paul, what about you? Player of the season and about Fabian Schär?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's true, isn't it? He doesn't get enough credit. I remember the ball at West Ham, and was it Jamie Redknapp was like, it's a lucky hoof ball that is. He's like, shut up, Redknapp, you idiot. And then he did it again. Well, I can't remember. Forgive me who it was against. It was almost identical. It was such a ball. It's a couple of games after that, and it was just like, well, have that, Redknapp, idiot. Like, he isn't just like hoof the ball and it gets to someone. Like, he's a really amazing player. I mean, it just shows it really just shows what Bruce knew about anything. Nothing. Hayden, good, nothing against Hayden, but Shah should have been starting. He's up there. Joe, what a transformation. That Norwich game just absolutely made him. And that Man United game, I mean, yeah, again, like, these journalists and all these people seem to just, well, I never knew you were that good, Joe. And then, was it Sean with him who was just like, hang on a minute. But for me, I think a lot of people might agree with us after he went out for a bit of injury and came back. For me, it's been a surprise as well. But Sean Longstaff for me, I tell you.
Oh yeah.
When he was out, we were really like, oh my, we really need this guy. Like, really need him. And then like he came back and he's done really well. And yeah, I just think that he just. Yeah, I mean, the talk about, I remember a couple of seasons ago, they were talking about, is it Longstaff, is it Rice, who's the new sort of English, new English big midfielder, and Rice is a good player. But honestly, I mean, Longstaff, I feel, should feel a bit gutted that he's not, I mean, it's Southgate, so what does he know? He should feel gutted he's not in that squad, because how is Calvin Phillips getting in?
It's because, like you just said, Southgate is a terrible manager, and I'm thankful to God. I'm thankful to God, and the three of us here that don't support England are thankful for God that he isn't not a manager. Because my God, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, bro.
There was a time when Steve Bruce was our manager, and we, then Southgate was your manager of your international team. It was just, oh my life. This is the worst football.
No reprieve at all. We couldn't even go into international break and look forward to anything. Southgate just plays favourite, so that's what he's always been. I mean, I'm not even.
Yeah, his favourites.
He frustrates me even as a Scotsman, because as much as I don't like to admit it, England should be far and away better than where they are just now. They're not, because Southgate keeps his favourites. I mean, I heard today in the commentary, apparently he had given assurances to Jordan Pickford that even if Everton had went down to the Championship, he'd still be England number one.
What?
How can you be a country who wants to win World Cups and tournaments and have your number one goalkeeper a Championship keeper? That hasn't happened, so he can justify it now because he's still in the Premier League. But if he had gone down, I mean, if I'm Nick Pope or I'm Aaron Ramsdale, or any of the other England goalkeepers out there who wants to try and get in this, I'm looking thinking, why am I bothered?
Yeah.
You're still going to drop Jordan Pickford no matter what. Now, don't get me wrong, to be fair to Pickford, he seems to have a different level at England at times. He does play well, but sometimes you just got to look at it and go, if he had went down today, you can't have a Championship goalkeeper, surely. I mean, even by Scotland's standards as a national team, that just wouldn't happen.
Yeah, it's madness. But yeah, you're right. Longstaff. Huge difference maker this year. For me, I'll go Bruno Guimaraes. I agree with 10, definitely. I mean, my God, this guy is something else, and he's gonna be a player he's a player for the now and the future. He's someone that gets in that starting 11. Him and Joe Ellington. I mean, Joe Ellington also deserves a shout for player of the season because we look a different side without him. So I think it speaks to the whole team in terms of if one player goes out, we can still win games, but you do notice that if Bruno's missing, if Joe is missing, if Willock is missing, if Longstaff is missing, Isak, Wilson, Pope, Trippier, and it's a good and a bad thing because we should, hopefully what we'll have in the summer is better replacements. But it does speak to how good these guys are and how good, how good Eddie Howe, how good of a coach Eddie Howe is.
Yeah, he's pulled these players up. He really has. He's taken those players who weren't getting the best out of under Bruce, partially because someone like Joe Linton were being played, out of position. He was never an out-and-out striker, and yet we persisted in playing him as such. under Bruce, and that's why he struggles so much, because that's just not his position. But since Howe's come in and just moved him more central, a bit wider, all of a sudden he's that battering ram. Every bit of that £40 million we spent on him, all of a sudden now it's worth it. Because he's given us those performances, and it's not just him. Obviously, people like Cher as well has improved under Eddie Howe. Miggy has turned into a player I don't think any of us would have imagined how good he could be. And I mentioned on Monday night about Jacob Murphy, about the fact that when Miggy got injured we didn't miss him because how good Murphy played. And he's another one that we'd have had out the door a year, 2 years ago. Now Eddie Howe's turned him into a real player. So he deserves a lot of credit for turning those players around the way that he has.
Absolutely. Before we end this off here, I want to get everyone's season rating and what the objective is for next year. Connor, let's start with you. Rate this season out of 10, and then what do you want to see us accomplish next year?
But at the end of the season rating, I'm not, as much as I'd love to, I'm not going to give it 10 out of 10, because clearly there are areas for improvement. Even finishing top 4. I think I would probably give it 8 out of 10. Knocking a point off for too many draws and for going out the FA Cup again at the first hurdle. I think in terms of next season's aims, obviously try and get out of the group in the Champions League. I wouldn't be disappointed if we ended up dropping to the Europa League as our first crack at the whip. And there's still a good bit of prestige to be said for playing. You can still play good teams there, so I'd rather that than nothing. Albeit I want us knockout stage Champions League football. Top 4 again would be, we've got to challenge for that. Because I don't think we're going to be challenging for the league title not for the next couple of years. I think that's a little bit.
Who knows though? Who knows? Because nobody saw us doing what we did this year.
Yeah. Well, true. No, listen, that's true.
I know this Man City team is ridiculous, but to be fair, they only needed 85 points to win the league, and we're at 71. And look at how many draws we've had.
No, I get that, but you have to take into account, like Jay was saying earlier, some of these other teams like Chelsea and Liverpool, they're not going to be that bad again next year. Chelsea are bringing in Pochettino; he will improve them. Liverpool think will get better because they'll probably spend money and bring players in as well. They'll be because this is Liverpool missing out on Champions League football, by the way, for the first time in a number of years now. So they'll be determined. So
about
I'm just saying,
7 or 8,
hard. Over and above that, though, we have to get another good cup run going again. Not just in the League Cup. We need to start showing ourselves in the FA Cup now, because Eddie Howe has been brilliant across the board, except in the FA Cup. We've no time up on that yet, and that has to be it now. Because realistically, in terms of silverware next season, it's going to come from one of the cups if we're going to win a trophy. Because I don't think we'll win the Champions League. I don't think we'll win the Premier League, although we could certainly compete. But the cups, we can win the cups. There's no reason why we can't have that ambition after what we witnessed this season. So that would be it for me. Get the good cup runs, good Champions League run, and be right in the mix with the top 4. And ideally, bring home a bit of silverware. That would be lovely. But again, that will depend on who we bring in, and obviously factors that happen throughout the season, like injuries and things like that as well. You've always got to take things into account. But that's where I would like us to be. And to be fair, if we can turn half of the draws we had this season into wins, because we've drawn more than anybody this season, we would have been up there. So that's what we've got to do.
Yeah, absolutely. 10, go for it. Season rating out of 10, and then what do you want to see in as objective next year?
I'll give our season similar to Connor, 8 out of 10. I think the thing sort of bad and good of the season. I mean, the good, top 4, even though I know it's not a trophy, but still managed to do that. At my expectation, make it to Wembley Cup run. Okay. There's one more point, and the bad, was like, the game. In a way, we only won half of our games this season. We only won 19 games, but still managed to get top 4. Next season, us winning 19 games might not even have us in, the top 4. So, yeah, and obviously the FA Cup and all that disappointment. In terms of what I expect next season, I mean, I hope, win all 4 trophies, but I know that's not realistic. But I think, if it's like Champions League, make the knockouts, because we actually never made the knockouts of the Champions League. But let's say if we drop down, Europa League, why not win it, if we really want to, continue to pride ourselves. If West Ham can make the final of the Conference League, and they were in the semi-final in the last year.
2 seasons ago, yeah.
Listen, Rangers made the Europa League final last year as well.
They
So
did,
if they can
yeah.
do it, West Ham can do
I
it.
think
Probably.
Yeah.
I think that if we drop down, realistic, if it's Champions League, see how far we go from there. In terms of the league, just get Europe again, I would say. But definitely want to see us in the top 4 race. But if we do what Arsenal did, transfer the league, why not win it? And I'll probably say, for the cups, domestic cups, I think go one better, win it. At least one of them.
Yes. I agree. Paul, go for it, bro.
The season for me is it's probably a 9. Just because obviously, like, we had that really good bit of form at the end of last season, and you think and you do wonder, like, can we kick on? Obviously, can we be that good side? And then obviously that City game, I think that set the tone for the season. That was just like, okay, so we are pretty serious about having a go. And I know, people like now hindsight and they're going, no, City weren't really playing and all this rubber. You hear all this nonsense. Especially at Man United. What is Man United's fans' problem with us? I don't know. Anyway, Goldbridge really hates us, but that's fine.
Tunbridge. Fuck him.
he's a prat. But yeah, I'd say 9 just because who the hell would have give us any chance of top 4? Anyone? No, I don't think anyone. Not even me. I love the club. I remember being a lad when we were in the Champions League, and yeah, like you said, we didn't make out the group stages then, but Bobby did a great job back then, best he could do with a squad that was getting older.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say 9 out of 10 for that. Next year, this is going to be I think this is going to be the hardest season for Eddie Howe of his career, because it is going to be such a balancing act with what one. I know we want to prioritise all of them, but he's already talking a few things that worry me. I know he does kind of downplay things, but he is saying 1 or 2. He is saying that he's heard the budget and he laughed and he said it's not as much as he wanted it to be. But again, I don't know whether that's just Eddie being Eddie, because he does
him downplaying.
Yeah. But it's one of those where, let's say, I know people are gonna clip it and say I'm deluded, but if you get to something crazy like a quarters or a semis at the Champions League, would you give that up for not being in the latter stages of Carabao or FA Cup? It's just such a, if we're not going to have a big squad, it would be tough to be fighting on 4, well, probably not Premier League, I doubt, but you never know, but at least 3 different cups, it would be difficult, wouldn't it?
What's your goal for next season, though? What's your goal? What do you want to see us do?
Oh, quadruple.
All right.
Then they can start calling us Saudi oil money, and and then it'd be funny. It'd just be hey, you bought it. You bought Joe Linton. He's world class.
Yeah.
Fair enough. For me, I'm giving the season probably an 8 out of 10. Yeah, it's been wonderful. The best season out of the 5, now 6, coming up on supporting Newcastle for me easily. I mean, last season, the half of the season when Eddie Howe came in was terrific.
Yeah.
But this year is just everything you could have asked for and more. Outside of just drawing a bit too much, the FA Cup exit and the final loss. So, yeah, next year for me, it's plain and simple. I don't care where we finish in the league. I don't care where we finish. If we get a trophy over the line, that's all that matters. That's all that matters to me. Get a trophy. Or I feel like your job is going to be on the line, Eddie, because we're moving quickly. We are moving quickly. I love him. I want him to stay, but I want him to stay on merit, and I don't want him to overstay his welcome, you know? But for me, I think next year, just win a trophy, man. Win a trophy. I think it's definitely possible. If I had to put money on which one I think it'll be, I think it would be Europa League. I think it'd be Europa League because that's the one competition Man City are not going to be in.
You know, it'd be lovely payback. It'd be us and Liverpool in the final, and you beat him in the final. That'd be nice.
In Dublin as well.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, in Dublin.
That'd be nice.
You're right.
That'd be nice.
That
I
would
mean,
be.
if we beat Real Madrid in the final next season, you know, imagine
Yeah.
3 years into our sort of takeover, where as Man City it took them like 15 years potentially. You know,
That's the thing, though. That's who we'd love to draw teams like that, wouldn't we? Like Real Madrid in the group stage would be. What a night that would be, St James's Park. Bringing them here.
It's that, wouldn't
Bayern
it?
Munich, Barcelona.
Wow.
Just unbelievable. You know, I have said I'd love us to get a Scottish team for selfish reasons, because then I could go to one of the games at least, but also because, you know, who doesn't love a Battle of Britain? It's happened in the past. We've seen, you know, Manchester United, Liverpool this season obviously played Rangers, pumped them, it has to be said. You know, so we always love a bit of that as well. So I would like that. I think that would be fantastic. And you never know. You just never know. I don't know. When does I think the draw gets made? Is it tail end of August? I think.
August,
Yeah. So we'll be watching that with bated breath. In fact, Steve, I'm expecting some sort of a live stream for that draw, because it's the first Champions League draw we've been in 20 years. So.
Yes, definitely, man. It's gonna be at like 6:30 a.m. in the morning here too. That's another thing.
In fact, there's one of my goals for next season, Steve. More watch-alongs on the channel, because we've had such a great season, and we've not always had. I mean, I'd have loved to have seen the watch-along for us beating Spurs 6-1. That would be something else. But yeah, I
Fair enough. Cool. All right. Well, that'll wrap it up because I got work in 6 hours, so I gotta get some sleep at some point. I've been up since 6 a.m. It's nearly 3, so I'm gonna get some bed and dream about whatever the hell. Probably us beating Real Madrid at St. James's Park or something. So, it's amazing. It's amazing what we've done. But I want to thank you guys. I want to thank everybody in the chat. Been a terrific year to support Newcastle United and for the channel as well. Thanks a bunch, guys, and take care. See you later, and see you, Newcastle United, in the US of A. Take care, everybody. Away the fucking flags.